It all came down to money. It all came down to the fellas wanted to split 3 ways instead of 4 ways. And wanted to pay me basically like a baggage handler.
And everybody was like, he had scoliosis, his back went bad, he couldn't perform, and then they just didn't let him in the group anymore. That's kind of the rumor that took off.
Michael McCary not only left Boyz II Men, but he also never forgave the members. Why? Apparently, after being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and struggling to keep up with touring, instead of showing support, the group grew frustrated, causing tension and his eventual exit.
When his back started to kind of, spaz out, like, we seen him less. There were times where he just wouldn't show up at shows. He wouldn't show up at TV appearances.
But the drama didn't end there. Issues like certain members overshadowing others, leadership struggles, to the group's reportedly bad attitudes becoming hard to hide kept resurfacing.
And then the award show comes on and they go, oh, we gotta let somebody win this year. Good thing we're not there. And I'm like, these guys are.
There were even claims of the group being rude, including an odd attempt to get Michael Jackson to say curse words. Turns out, Boyz II Men were a lot to deal with. Let's dive in.
I've been working out for 4 years to get my health right, get my body right, get my mind right. It's time to just go ahead and move forward.
So when Michael McCary left Boyz II Men, he told the world it was because of a health problem. He said he had scoliosis, a condition that affects the spine. Many people believed him and thought he left the group to take care of his health. At the time, it seemed like a sad but simple reason. But over the years, whispers started to grow. People began to wonder if there was more to the story. Some fans and music insiders thought maybe there were other reasons behind Michael's decision to leave. For a long time, Michael stayed silent. He didn't talk about what really happened. He let the group move on with just 3 members, Nathan Morris, Wanya Morris, and Shawn Stockman. They kept making music and performing without him. Many people thought maybe Michael just wanted to start a solo career. Others believed the group had arguments, and Michael decided to leave because of that. But no one knew for sure because Michael didn't say anything.
It all came down to money. It all came down to the fellas wanted to split 3 ways instead of 4 ways. And wanted to pay me basically like a baggage handler.
Then, in 2016, Michael finally opened up. He told the truth in a very emotional interview. He shared that he had been suffering from multiple sclerosis, MS, for many years. MS is a serious illness. It affects the brain and the spine. People with MS can feel very weak. They can have muscle pain, tiredness, and trouble walking or moving. It's not something that goes away easily. It can get worse over time, and there is no full cure. Michael said he first noticed problems in his body when he was in his early 20s. At first, it was small things. His back would spasm. He didn't think much of it. But then the pain grew stronger. The muscle issues didn't go away. Still, he didn't tell the group. He didn't want to be seen as a problem. He didn't want them to feel like they had to take care of him. So he kept his pain a secret and continued working hard with the group.
And everybody was like, he had scoliosis, his back went bad, he couldn't perform, and then they just didn't let him in the group anymore. That's kind of the rumor that took off.
But as time passed, things got worse. The group traveled a lot, did long tours, and had many performances. This life was hard for Michael. His body couldn't take the stress. The pain made it hard for him to sing and perform. Even though he wanted to continue, he just couldn't do it anymore. The illness had taken over his body. He had no choice but to step away. In 2003, he officially left the group.
Well, he didn't, I guess he didn't want to be involved or do it anymore. We actually tried to reach out for him for our 20th anniversary.
However, his exit was not a peaceful one. Michael later said that the way the group treated him hurt him deeply. He said they didn't support him. Instead of helping him during his illness, he said they left him behind. He felt like they abandoned him. In a very sad interview, he said he felt betrayed by the people he once called his brothers. If I had to sum up what I got from my brothers in Boyz II Men, I would have to say betrayal, a broken bond, Michael said with tears in his eyes.
We actually tried to reach out for him for our 20th anniversary to bring him in and have him, perform with the new album, but things didn't kind of work out, so.
But the other members of Boyz II Men saw things differently. They told a different story. Nathan Morris said that Michael simply stopped showing up. He said the group couldn't wait around forever. They still had fans, shows, and music to take care of. They said they had no choice but to move forward without Michael. Because he left us hanging so many times, we had to cover what we had been doing the last 9 years he wasn't there, Nathan explained. You can't just run out one day and not show up.
I don't think our friendship is as strong as it used to be.
Does he still live in Philly?
He's here in Los Angeles, I think. Yeah.
When his back started to kind of, spaz out, like, we seen him less. There were times where he just wouldn't show up at shows. He wouldn't show up at TV appearances.
Wanya Morris also spoke about it. He said that Michael had a back problem, but he believed it could have been fixed. Wanya said instead of trying to get better or working through it, Michael just stopped coming to work. The group had no warning. They had to keep moving forward. They had to make sure their career didn't fall apart. Michael wasn't happy about that, but they felt they did what they had to do. It's clear there were two sides to this story. Michael felt sick and needed help. He hoped his group would understand and support him, but the group felt let down. They said Michael didn't show up and left them in a hard spot. Both sides felt hurt. Both sides felt misunderstood. And because they didn't talk openly at the time, the pain grew between them.
There have been times where we would actually do shows where Mike would be sitting on a stool.
Yeah.
And we were dancing and the whole thing. So we tried practically everything just to, keep him motivated and keep him into it.
Some fans also believe there were other problems going on. Around that time, Boyz II Men wasn't as popular as before. The early 2000s were a hard time for R&B music. The music scene was changing. The group's new albums weren't selling like their old ones. Some fans believe Michael lost hope. Nate Morris even said, "It seems like he kind of gave up when things didn't go well." He was talking about the group's fourth and fifth albums that didn't sell millions like the first ones. There was a moment in 2012 when fans got excited. Talks began to bring Michael back into the group. But sadly, those talks failed. Michael didn't want to sign a contract that would make sure he stayed in the group long term. The others said they needed that agreement because they couldn't risk being left again.
We actually tried to reach out for him for our 20th anniversary to bring him in and have him, perform with the new album, but things didn't kind of work out, so.
Even with all this pain, the group still respects Michael's talent. They say his voice was very special. Shawn Stockman said, obviously he was a freak of nature vocally. He explained that Michael had a deep bass voice that was rare. Only a few singers like Melvin Franklin from The Temptations had that kind of voice. Shawn said, his slot will always be open for him, but he has to go about things correctly for it to happen. There may have also been tension about the group's direction. Maybe they didn't agree on what kind of music to make or how to handle the group's future. Michael leaving only made the tension worse. For many years after he left, the group didn't talk about him much. They kept going as 3 members, but fans could tell something was missing. In 2014, something special happened. Michael reunited with Boyz II Men for one performance. Fans were filled with hope. Maybe the group would become 4 again. Maybe they had fixed things. But it didn't last. Now when it comes to Wanya Morris and Shawn Stockman. They had been friends for a very long time and worked together for many years.
When you say goodbye.
Okay, cool. All right, so what key is that in?
It don't matter, bro. I'm not singing it that high.
All right.
Even though they were close, like many people who worked together for a long time, they sometimes had small problems. Wanya was often seen as the main voice of the group. He sang many of the lead parts in their songs, and his voice was strong and full of emotion. Because of this, he got more attention from fans and music critics. This sometimes made the other members feel like they were in the background, even though they were also very talented. Shawn Stockman had a very soft and smooth voice.
Girl, you wish is my command.
He was known for his high falsetto notes, which many fans loved. But sometimes, he felt like his voice and talents were not getting enough attention. He wanted more chances to show what he could do. Over time, Shawn started working on his own music projects outside of Boyz II Men. He wanted to explore other kinds of music and do solo songs. While this helped him grow as an artist, it also caused some problems. His solo work took time away from the group, and this made some members feel unhappy or left out. It was hard to balance everything when one member was doing things on the side.
'Cause through the good, through the bad times, through it all along.
Also, Shawn had different musical tastes. Sometimes, he wanted to try new sounds that were not the usual Boyz II Men style. The group was known for their smooth R&B sound, and changing that made things a bit tense. Even though they talked about it and worked things out, these moments showed that they did not always agree. Still, they kept working together because they respected each other and loved the music they made. Nathan Morris was another important member of the group. He often acted like the leader. He helped make big decisions for the group, like what songs to sing or how the group should move forward. Being the leader is not always easy. Not everyone always agreed with his choices. Sometimes the other members wanted things done differently. This caused a little friction now and then, but they tried to keep things private and respectful. In interviews over the years, some of the group members talked about these small issues. Shawn once shared that he sometimes felt like he was standing in Wanya's shadow. He didn't say it to start a fight, but just to be honest. He wanted people to understand how hard it can be when one person always gets the spotlight. Amidst their success, the group faced a terrible tragedy. Their tour manager, Khalil Roundtree, was shot and killed during an attempted robbery while the group was on tour.
If Khalil was alive today, he would be sitting right in the sidelines with his big cigar and his big ring.
This heartbreaking event shook the band and their fans deeply. Khalil Roundtree had been staying at the guest quarters suite hotel in Chicago with the rest of Boyz II Men's team. Everything seemed normal until three men started knocking on hotel doors, trying to rob people. Roundtree and another road manager, Qadri El Amin, stepped in to try to stop them. They wanted to protect the group and the others staying at the hotel. Unfortunately, in the middle of the struggle, the men shot Roundtree and El Amin. Roundtree tragically lost his life, and El Amin was shot in the knee but survived. Motown Records, the group's record label, was shocked by the news. A spokesperson from the label expressed disbelief, saying that Boyz II Men was a peaceful group, and no one could understand why this happened. They weren't involved in any violence or drama, unlike some other groups in the music world. The spokesperson said it was surprising and sad because Boyz II Men was known for being kind and professional, and their manager, Khalil Roundtree, was the same way. Nathan Morris shared how difficult it was for the band to deal with this loss. He described Khalil as more than just a tour manager. For the band, he was like a father figure, someone who guided and supported them through their journey. His death left a big hole in their lives, and it took the group some time to get back on their feet. In memory of Khalil Roundtree, Boyz II Men honored him on their 1994 album titled 2. They included a special interlude on the album called Khalil, which was their way of keeping his memory alive and paying tribute to the man who meant so much to them. Also, Kandi Burruss, known from The Real Housewives of Atlanta and who is also a songwriter and singer, did not stay quiet about a bad experience she had with the R&B group.
I hate to do it. And, ain't no love lost. I mean, this is 100 years later, so it doesn't even matter. But yeah, I had a bad experience in the studio with Boyz II Men.
She said they were the most difficult artists she ever worked with. Kandi helped them write 2 songs, but instead of showing her respect, she said the group treated her badly. They acted rude, didn't appreciate her work, and made her feel like she didn't belong there. She felt they treated her that way because she was a woman.
Was it about the attitudes or what? Attitude.
We fell out after that.
Kandi first talked about the problem during a live chat on Instagram. She was just talking with her fans when someone asked her about her experience working with other artists. She quickly said, "Boyz II." Men were the hardest to deal with. She explained that things started off fine, but everything changed when she asked a simple question about how they split songwriting credit. In the music world, splits means how money and credit are shared when more than one person writes a song. Kandi wanted to know how they usually split things, so everything could be fair. That's when their attitude changed completely.
I don't think I ever been disrespected like that before in the studio in my life. It was crazy.
After she asked about the splits, the mood in the room became cold. The group told her they usually split everything equally. But Kandi didn't agree with that because she said she wrote most of one of the songs herself. She believed it was only fair that she got a larger part of the credit. At first, the group said okay and agreed to a certain percentage for her. But later, they went back on their word. They didn't want to give her the share they had promised. Kandi said the group didn't even speak to her after that. They called her manager and started complaining about her. She overheard them saying rude things, like she had no right to ask about splits. They acted like she should just be happy to work with them and not question anything. Kandi felt this was very disrespectful. She believed they were being rude just because she was a woman. She said, "If I was a man, that would have never happened." She believed a male songwriter would never be treated the way they treated her. The next day, things got even worse. Kandi showed up to finish the song, but the group didn't want her in the studio. They only allowed her manager and the producer inside. She was left out, even though she helped write the songs. She said it was very hurtful and unprofessional. It made her feel like she didn't matter. The way they treated her made it clear they didn't respect her talent or her voice. Later, Wanya fired back at Kandi. He made fun of her singing and tried to make her look like she wasn't good enough. Kandi didn't stay quiet. She went on her YouTube channel and told the full story of what really happened. She didn't want people to believe the wrong version of the story. She explained every part of what happened in the studio and how the group's behavior changed once she spoke up about getting fair credit. To back up Kandi's experience, an old interview with producer Dallas Austin came back online. In that interview, Dallas said he also had a hard time working with Boyz II Men. He worked on their first album and helped them become big stars. But he said by the time they worked on the second album, things were different. He said the group had big egos and acted like they were better than everyone else. He gave an example where they joked about their expensive watches and didn't seem serious about making music anymore.
By the time we were working on the second album, I remember us sitting in the studio and they were going, "Man, I can't finish counting the diamonds in my Rolex right now."
Dallas also said the group looked down on other music artists. One time, they were watching an award show and said something like, "We're not even there, so we have to let someone else win." He thought their comments were mean and rude. He called them a-holes because of the way they talked about others. That kind of behavior made him not want to work with them again.
And then the award show comes on and they go, "Oh, we got to let somebody win this year. Good thing we're not there." And I'm like, these guys are assholes.
What really shocked Dallas was when the group disrespected Babyface, who is a very famous and respected music producer. Babyface played them the song "I'll Make Love to You," which later became one of their biggest hits. But when they first heard it, they told Babyface it was a bad song. They didn't believe in the song at all. Dallas said this showed how full of themselves they were and how they thought they knew better than everyone else. When Nathan Morris came to know about the producer's statements regarding his band, he could not hide his emotion as he took to his social media and made some bold comments. The singer seemed very angry and frustrated, and he even warned Austin that he might take on a head-to-head fight with him on the social platforms. He tweeted, WTF is wrong with you, homie? Stay your A, out the woods tree hugging and smoking weed, and shh. You know your interview about Boyz II Men with Ovlad TV was bullshit lies. I don't really do this social eshat, but I'll spew the real esht if you want N. Also, Boyz II Men shared a strange story about meeting Michael Jackson.
We all looked up to. We couldn't help but to look up to him.
Still do.
And still do, in a lot of ways.
They said they went to his house and were surprised to see that his closet was full of the same clothes. Just red shirts and black pants. Michael told them he dressed like that every day so he wouldn't waste time thinking about what to wear. They also tried to get him to curse for fun, but he wouldn't do it. Instead of using bad words, Michael would say things like fudge. The group found it funny, but some people thought it was childish and showed they didn't always act serious. In 2015, Boyz II Men performed on a TV show called The Bachelorette. They sang their famous song, I'll Make Love to You. But many viewers thought the performance was awkward. People didn't like that they used guitars instead of singing in their usual a cappella style. The performance didn't get the love they expected. Some fans felt it didn't match the feeling of the original song. Later on, Boyz II Men went on tour again with other boy bands like New Kids on the Block and 98 Degrees. These reunion tours were meant to bring back old memories, but fans had mixed feelings. Some people were excited, but others hoped the groups would leave behind their old fashion choices, like frosted hair tips, big jackets, and all-white outfits. People joked about how they always used stools on stage to look emotional, and how they made awkward poses in photos. Back in the early 1990s, Boyz II Men became a huge name in music. Their songs were everywhere, and people loved them. So when they were invited to be on a popular TV show, it wasn't a big surprise. In 1993, they appeared on a Christmas special of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. On the show, Will Smith's character promised his family that he could get Boyz II Men to sing at a special event. And sure enough, the group showed up and sang beautifully. It was a fun and heartwarming moment for the fans and the show. For Boyz II Men, this TV appearance wasn't just about singing, it was also about meeting up with an old friend. Will Smith and the group were all from Philadelphia. They came from the same neighborhoods and had seen each other during their early days in music. One of the group members, Shawn Stockman, said it felt like being with close friends again. Years later, he told a magazine that it was great to see Will doing so well in Hollywood. He felt proud of Will, and the group was happy to support him. There's also a story not many people know. Will Smith almost became the manager of Boyz II Men. Back in the day, before they all became famous, they used to hang out at house parties on weekends. Will Smith and his music partner, DJ Jazzy Jeff, would play music at these parties. At one point, Will talked about managing Boyz II Men, but then Michael Bivins from the group New Edition came into the picture. He started helping them, and the group took a different path. By the time Boyz II Men got big, Will was already busy working on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and becoming a star in his own way. A fan asked the group to fix their problems and get back together. The fan explained that Michael had a lot going on. He was young, married, and also dealing with health problems. He couldn't keep up with the group's busy schedule, so he had to step away. But fans still wanted them to reunite. One fan wrote online, "Forgive each other. You four were one of the best R&B groups ever. Get it together." Many fans hoped that the group could move past the hurt and make music as a full group again.